Just because Trump and his filth have lied to you about everything, every day for 11 years, that's no reason for you to get cynical and think that was staged.
As soon as gunshots were heard at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night, conspiracy theories started spreading online. Posts like this one, with no evidence, claiming it was staged. A Fox News clip of the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also went viral.
It'll be funny, it'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
This was to be President Trump's first time addressing the Correspondents' Dinner. Traditionally at the event, presidents poke fun at themselves and at the press. These jokes and jabs are clearly what Leavitt was referring to when she said shots fired.
I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it.
This statement from Trump, along with a bunch of posts online, had some people speculating that the whole thing had been a setup to justify the building of Trump's controversial ballroom on the White House complex. There is zero evidence to support this.
Just admit you staged it in Butler.
Saturday's attack came on the heels of renewed skepticism among some former Trump supporters about the Trump assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania.
I have obtained a copy of this so-called manifesto. It says administration officials are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest.
Marjorie Taylor Greene took to social media Sunday, writing, "I want to know why the Trump admin released Cole Allen's manifesto immediately, but they still keep a tight lid on Thomas Crooks. The FBI, under both Biden and Trump, has repeatedly said Crooks has acted alone and has released information about Crooks, including his online search history." On Monday, Press Secretary Leavitt was asked about the widespread misinformation.
It's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible to dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see running rampant online.
And Aaron, we pretty much see this today, unfortunately, with pretty much every major breaking news story, where as journalists and law enforcement and different authorities are trying to gather facts about a situation, you have these lies going viral online, people baselessly speculating, sometimes those people with very big platforms of 100,000 or even millions of followers. And that's exactly, of course, what we saw on Saturday night.
The president has talked about rescheduling the dinner within 30 days. Does he have a specific venue in mind? And would he consider hosting it at the White House?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a room big enough here at the White House, which is another point to be made, and the president is absolutely right. It's why the White House Ballroom project is not just a fun project for President Trump, like you will read in the media. It is actually critical for our national security that a larger, secure building on this complex, which is the most secure complex in the world, is built to accommodate not only large amounts of guests, but also the president, the vice president, members of the cabinet. The line of succession in this country should be able to gather freely in safety without the fear of threats or political violence. And the White House ballroom will provide that. And so it's critical that we get this project done as quickly as possible.
Y'all ready? A meeting space that is secured on the White House grounds that would allow people to do what they did at the Hilton Hotel is necessary. I'm convinced if there had been a presidential ballroom adjacent to the White House, the guy would have never gotten in. Agreed. You had an event with the line of succession in a ballroom where 1,000 people were in a hotel above it. This guy apparently checked in the night before and was able to get shotguns and pistols and knives and made a rush for the ballroom door, and thank God he didn't make it. We're going to introduce legislation that would authorize $400 million to be spent to secure to build the presidential ballroom. Underneath there will be a lot of military stuff. There will be a Secret Service annex, and we've paid for it by offsetting it with custom fees. But the estimate is $332 million. We're going to do $400 million because I think it's probably going to take more. Private donations can be used, but I think they should be used for buying China and stuff like that. It is insane to do this again. Anybody who suggests that we have an event like this in the times in which we live, in a facility like Hilton, that's crazy. We're going to have to accommodate the times in which we live. And Eric, you nailed it. You did. There are people out there that are nuts, being driven to take up violence is an acceptable outcome in too many people's opinion. So no, we're going to build this facility, and I would suggest to the next president, don't go to the Hilton. Don't do an event at the Hilton or any other facility outside the White House, given the times in which we live. The problem is you don't have a choice. We're going to give people that choice.
This will not be done until the end of his term. This is about future presidents. This is about our nation having a place to gather where the President of the United States of America can be a part of it. This is about presidents both now and in the future.
The president wants this new ballroom that he's been trying to construct as a way to move ahead and protect himself and others during these big events. Is this something you would support authorizing in light of what happened on Saturday?
No. You know, the president, let's be very clear here. The president he demolished the East Wing of the White House, a historic jewel of the American people, and he started to build this ballroom long before any incident. He also promised the American people that this was going to be built with private dollars. And so the idea that they are now trying to change the rationale for this in retrospect doesn't quite add up. And in fact, the White House long had facilities for hosting, which also included the East Wing of the White House, prior to them bulldozing the crown jewel of the American people. And so I don't believe that in an era where they are jacking up prices on the American people, when they are gutting everyone's health care, when people cannot afford to pay their rent and their mortgages, that we should be choosing our precious treasure, little treasure that we have in this country, to build an ornate castle on a scale of which is quite unprecedented and unbelievable without any sort of accountability to those funds. And I'm sure that anyone who believes in, these values of so-called waste, fraud, and abuse would agree with me on that.
Do you feel safe currently as a member of Congress right now? Do you feel safe right now?
I've never felt safe. I never have.
播报新闻是我的日常，必须时刻保持妆容和皮肤的最佳状态。当来到人生中最重要的时刻，也是 KS 逆时奇迹帮助我轻松驾驭，闪闪发光。KS 逆时奇迹活肤露全效精华、精华霜，多达5种 EGF、6大冻龄关键成分，保湿效果让我非常满意，小细纹也不再困扰我。我就是我自己的最佳女主角 ，KS 让我从容自信、光彩动人。 我是我人生中的大女主，我的最爱我做主。KS 逆时奇迹系列热卖中，下单请上快点购，透过中天新闻网 App 下单立减50，或输入 CTI 推荐码有额外折扣。